another Testimonial Tuesday. I'm so glad that you are all here today. We have some incredible faces jumping on, and I cannot wait for you all to be able to listen to 4 incredible stories. These ladies have some great info to share for you. So first, I'm going to say my name's Nicole. I've been with Plexus for about 2 years now, and I have seen and felt incredible things happen with these products. It's amazing how something that's formulated, quite complex, is so simple for us to take, and it helps from gut stuff to weight loss to autoimmune to pain, anything you can think of. And there's 4 stories here you guys are going to hear tonight, and you're going to notice how different they all are, and all from the same similarity formulation of product regimen. Okay, I'm so excited to be able to hear all of these stories. I think you guys are going to love them. If you have any questions, definitely you can go ahead and put it in the chat box, or you can wait to the end. We definitely want to be able to answer any questions that you guys all may have. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to introduce Miss Melissa, who is going to share about her son's experience.
Hello, guys. Thanks so much for having me tonight to spend some time with you guys. I appreciate it. So my entire family is actually on Plexus, but it's my middle child's story that really resonates and really makes me usually cry. So if I do cry, I apologize. My son now is 16. His name is Evan. Around 5, 6 years old, he started getting kidney infections. And it wasn't just one here or there. It was 5 or 6 a year. And it was getting to the point that it was recurring so much that doctors were telling us that he'd probably have a kidney transplant by the time he was 25. We couldn't figure out where it was coming from. We don't know what was going on. And then around 7 or 8, he started getting red eyes, which was crazy because it wasn't bloodshot. It was almost like the white of his eyes were bright red all the time. Nothing got rid of it. Allergy meds. We tried everything. Doctors didn't know what was going on. Around 10 years old, he had a rash. The rash that he had was all over his face and his hands, and it was like his skin was peeling off. It's almost like it was just being washed away. So he was finally sent to a rheumatologist. So we see one of the best rheumatologists in the state in Portland, and he's an amazing man, and immediately put Evan on some medication saying that he has Reiter's disease, which is also considered a reactive arthritis. Well, it's a disease that attacks your kidneys, your joints, as well as your eyes. It's autoimmune. So we went on some pretty heavy medications. He started gaining weight from those medications. He wasn't feeling the best from the medications. He would play soccer, but it was starting to impede his performance. He was missing a lot of school. So we pushed further. We pushed the rheumatologist that there has to be something else more. Can you test a little bit further? He did. He kept going further because Evan wasn't getting any better with anything. So he had his knees aspirated, which is taking fluid out of it, and we had that tested. Good thing we did push further because come to find out, it's actually Evan's DNA. He has a positive HLA-B27 chromosome. And with that, he also has another autoimmune disease called ankylosing spondylitis. Now that autoimmune disease attacks his spine, and it can attack his aorta as well. So it's a very scary ride that we've been on with him. A lot of different medications, a lot of different treatments. Nothing seemed to help. Nothing seemed to work. It would work for a couple weeks. It would do okay. And then he would crash bad. He couldn't move. He missed so much school. We had truancy at our house. We had so many things going on that he went from being a straight A student to possibly failing because he wasn't present. He ended up quitting soccer. He lost out on a lot of childhood things to do because he was sick all the time. Finding out that it was ankylosing spondylitis and his DNA allowed him to open up to different medications. So we tried them. There was only one medication, according to his rheumatologist, that we did not try. And when I asked him why, he had told me it will eat his heart. The medication is so strong, it would eat at his heart, and he wouldn't live till 30. I cried all the way home because there was no other hope for my kid. He's not going to have a functioning life, and he's not going to outlive me. At this point, I had started taking Plexus for myself for my own issues, and I did more research about gut health and how it works with autoimmune issues. So I decided to try it. August of 2017, I took him off his medication and put him on Plexus. That was a scary conversation. I was actually at my friend Jenny's house telling her, how do I tell the rheumatologist that I took him off medication and put him on vitamins? I was scared. So I brought the products with me and I put them on his desk, and he looked at them and said, okay, there's nothing in here that can hurt him. It's all based on gut health. Like that, I do know. I did do a lot of research. So he did look at me. He's like, oh gosh, you're one of those moms. I am, but the advocate that I need to be. So he looked at my son and checked his vertebrae, checked his spine, checked everything that he has with him. And I wish I had a picture for the rheumatologist face when he said, wow, for the first time in years, this boy does not have inflammation. He got rid of his limp. He was able to function. And that was in 2 months. So August of 2017, we put him on Plexus, and we rescheduled his appointment to October. And within that 2-month period, he was in balance enough for the rheumatologist to say, we're not putting you back on medication, continue to do what you're doing. And it's now 3 years. 3 years medication-free, 100% supported by his rheumatologist, and he has a chance at life, and we don't worry that he's not going to surpass me. So it's definitely been a blessing, and it's something we are going to continue with, and he's 16 and thriving, and it's awesome. Thanks, guys.
Melissa, thank you so much for sharing this. I wish I could hug you right now. It took a lot of strength and courage for you to be able to pretty much relive and share what you guys went through. And that is amazing how much that he's off his meds.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yes, 100% medication free for 3 years. And his rheumatologist actually told us in his appointment in February that with him being in remission for 3 years, if it was not genetic, if it were not his DNA, he would have discharged him as a patient, because the limit is 2 years. So if he went 2 years medication free in balance, he would not be a patient. But the only reason he is still seen yearly now is because it's genetic.
Wow. Wow.
I have a quick question for Melissa. Melissa, what did you put him on initially, and what is he taking now?
It's the same exact thing from what I started him on to what he's taking now, which is just Triplex and Vital Biome.
And what dosages do you use for him?
He does use regular full adult doses. He's 5'10", now he is. But even at that time period, he was over 100 pounds and he was taking some serious medications. So we just put him straight on the adult dose.
It's incredible. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much again, Melissa. I appreciate all of that. Okay, all right. We now have Jessica Gurney up. She is going to share her story, and I cannot wait to hear it. Go right ahead, hon.
Sure. Hey, everyone. My name is Jessica Gurney, and I live here in Central Maine. I'm a first grade teacher and a mom to 2 little girls, and I had hit rock bottom. So at the age of 35, I had a special needs daughter who I was teaching full-time. I still teach full-time, and I was bringing her to about 12 therapies a week from Boston to Portland. And I was just running on steam that I didn't really have, but people thought I did. And so I'll never forget it. It was Thanksgiving, and I had just had an emergency hysterectomy, and I was on the couch, and my family was at Thanksgiving, and I was home alone. And Abby Wallach sent me another message saying, Jessica, you need this. And I thought, Today's the day. My family's at Thanksgiving. I'm home alone and I'm joining. And at that point in my life, I struggled with UTIs all of the time. I had a UTI every month, or I had a yeast infection. I was on an antifungal medication daily. My gums were bleeding so badly that my dentist sent me to see a gum specialist, and they talked about taking tissue from other parts of my mouth to repair my gums. And they kept telling me that it was from stress. And I kept saying that I don't know what you want me to do, because this is just my life and I can't, I'm trying, but I don't know why my gums keep receding. And so I had many appointments for that. I was on acid reflux medication. I was on sleeping pills and I still couldn't sleep. In the meantime, I had been to the cancer center and I was waiting to hear back the results from my hysterectomy. I was on prednisone all the time. I had sugar cravings that were so intense that I could just live off candy all day. We would go to Hannaford and I would secretly hope that my daughter would pick Sour Patch Kids so that I could open them up in the car on the way home. I felt like so many foods bothered me and I was avoiding so many different things. And I was really just hanging on by a thread. I would fall asleep putting my girls to bed at night and then wake up at like 10 o'clock at night to a house that needed to be picked up to get ready for the next day. I just couldn't keep up that pace of life any longer. And so I did, so that that I have nothing to lose. I don't think I can hit a lower point. And the first thing that I said was, I will never share. So I'm going to try this and I will never share. And I can't have another medical expense. At the time, we owed thousands and thousands of dollars to MaidMed for my daughter. So I said, I'm gonna give it a try. I'm gonna give it the 90 days. I'm gonna keep it a secret, but I'm gonna do it. And I think I was 2 weeks into it. And everybody's time period is different, but it was a Friday night and I decided to organize my pantry. And my husband and my mom had called me and she said, Jessica, what is going on? The fact that I was still functioning on a Friday night. And it just went from there. I felt better. I felt like I was able to manage my anxiety and the stress in my life better. And by the end of the month, people in my circle of life said, Jessica, what's going on with you? You're doing so much better. You're happier. You have more energy. And with time, it took time, but I was able to go off all the medication that I was taking. And for the first time in years, I had a full night's sleep. And that just really changed everything. And so from there, people around me, including my family, my mom and my grandmother were the first two people. And it just went from there. And now I feel like I have my life back. I feel like I'm present with my kids. I'm still working full time. My daughter still has therapies around the clock, but I feel like I can manage it. And not only can I manage that, but I'm motivated to help other people feel better. And I guess my advice would be, don't wait until you're on that couch on Thanksgiving Day. You are worth it. And, if you're hearing this call for the first time, you have nothing to lose. And we have seen so many positive benefits from it. And so I'm so thankful that I listened to my friend who recommended I start the product.
Oh my goodness, Jessica. Thank you so much for sharing. And I'm just imagining how you must have felt, being home, not feeling good, everybody's together. And yeah, it's hard. For some reason, we always have to wait to rock bottom. And you're correct when you were telling everyone, don't wait until you're there. You're not feeling good. And there's so many stories that say there is a chance for you to experience this, and it's so right. I'm so glad that you're feeling better and that you're able to keep up with your girlies and your kiddos at school. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, we're going to move over to another Jessica we call Jess. And she's a newbie and she's had incredible experience so far. Just like our first Jessica had said, everybody experiences it differently in their time with how things, work product-wise. And so now I will stop talking and let Chris talk.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. All right. My name is Jessica Redmond. I am a single mom of 3 boys, 15, 11, and 4. I am actually a widow. My husband passed away in 2015. Because of that, I have been dealing with a lot of anxiety and depression, PTSD, mental fog, just not feeling myself. I was told at a young age that I carry my stress in my lower back. I went through all kinds of physical therapies and stuff, and they had mentioned that I had a couple of discs that have low cartilage between them, and that I may possibly down the road need surgery to alleviate that. I put it off, and I still haven't done it, honestly. But I kind of have coasted through the last few years. And in 2017, actually September of 2017, I was diagnosed with cancer. I had 48 rounds of radiation and 14 days of chemotherapy. It was rough. It took a lot out of me. But I made it, and in February of 2018, I was told that I was in remission, and I have been awesome ever since. It's been a long road. I've been tired. Those medications, those drugs, those chemicals, take a lot out of you. I've noticed I've just been tired and drawn out, and I'd work and come home and I'd find myself falling asleep on my couch, and my kids are wanting dinner, and just a lot as a single mom. I tried a lot of different products to try to help myself. I was a caffeine fiend, extra large Dunkin' Donuts every day. Of different products to try. Did a lot of stuff. I tried a lot of. I noticed myself gaining weight again, and wanted to get that weight back off, and I tried a lot of different products, and because of what I had gone through, I suffered with constipation a lot. The chemo and radiation, where it was aimed, did a lot of damage down there, so I struggled a lot. And then COVID hit, and I found myself dancing on the doorstep of my maximum weight that I've ever been at. And I knew that was just not okay. Hand in hard, trying to figure out what I was going to do, and my Aunt Wendy messaged me and said, "Hey, I'm having this Zoom. Why don't you come check it out?" So I was like, "All right, you know what? Let's do it." I had a girlfriend a few years back that had mentioned it, and I just swept it under the rug. No, not for me. Everything else has been bad, and that's just going to be bad too. So no. But I saw Aunt Wendy working it, and she was doing awesome, and I thought, okay, let's give it a go. So in June, I joined a Zoom with Nicole and Aunt Wendy and my mom, actually, and decided to one last try. Let's do it. So I got my product in July, and things haven't been the same since. My energy level is amazing. I am able to get up at 6:30 in the morning and power through until 10:30, 11 o'clock at night if need be. I'm losing weight. I'm losing inches. My scrubs aren't fitting very well anymore. I've noticed inflammation that has been gone. My rings, I am almost losing them because my fingers are thinned out. My back pain, I don't feel my back anymore. I don't wake up and go, oh my gosh, my back hurts, and lay on a heating pad, all night long. I don't have to have that heating pad anymore. I don't have coffee. I don't want coffee. I have no desire for it. I found myself just dumping it out. I just didn't want it anymore. I'm thinking clearly. I'm getting compliments on glowing. I'm happier overall. I'm walking 2 miles a day every day, and I just keep wanting more. Keep going. Yeah, that's my spiel.
You know, Jess, I love all of this. You have been through so much at such a young age that just she's a you're such a positive person, and I can't wait to can actually physically meet you. Someday we'll be able to physically meet. I'm so thankful for Zoom.
Right. Absolutely.
Your experience so far has been incredible. It really has, and I'm so glad that everything's working out for you, and that we're blessed that you're here to be with us. Thank you, Annie, for sharing. Okay, now,
Thank
no
you so much.
further ado, I am going to pass I'm just looking for where she is on my screen. There, Miss Sarah. I'm going to pass it over to Miss Sarah.
Hi there. Thank you so much for asking me to jump on tonight.
Right.
It is always so much fun to be able to, it doesn't matter how long you have been doing this, to either rehear people's stories that you have known right from your first moment of joining in with this, or ones like Jess's that I've never heard before. It's an amazing experience. So thank you so much for having me jump on and giving me the opportunity to listen to everybody else's stories. So my name is Sarah Thurston, and I recently just celebrated my 3-year Plexiversary, and my journey has been an interesting one, and I'm discovering even 3 years in, things continue to change. And a lot of times things change that you didn't even plan for your journey to be a part of. And so I started because just like Jess Gurney, I am friends with Abby Wallach, and I stalked her for 6 months. I didn't give her a thumbs up. I didn't comment. Oh man, there was no way I wasn't going to comment on her post, because then she was going to try to sell me something. And I've done those roads before. And I was so scared, but I totally was intrigued by her story, because my background is in exercise science, and I'm a health and exercise science and physical education teacher. And with my degree in kinesiology, like, I am learning about the body all the time. And so I'm seeing her story unfold. And I was like, huh, this is interesting. And there was one day she made a post that said, I dare you, go ahead and Google gut health and anything you have going on. And so I did. I am a mom of 2 kiddos that just popped in really quick to say goodnight, and they tire me out. So between teaching a full day, being with them, I'm also a coach. We have a family farm here. So there's lots of things that are pulling at my energy from my life. And I felt it to be totally normal that I would convince my son to read to me. Instead of me reading stories to him, I would convince him to read to me because I couldn't stay awake. And when he would wake me up and say, Mom, you fell asleep again, it broke my heart. Like, that's not the mom I want to be. And so I'm following Abby's story. I got convinced by this group of students. Anybody who's in education knows this is how it goes. Like, kids will convince you to do ridiculous things, right? And so being pretty active and being pretty healthy, they convinced me that I was going to run a half marathon with them. And I am not a runner. I have been an asthmatic my entire life. I lived with inhalers like in my pockets. Like, every coat that I have has an inhaler in it. Like, and allergies. I should have lived in a bubble as a child growing up. My entire life, my whole family has them. Like, it's just what we are, right? And that was just my life. And when the kids asked me, I said, okay, fine, whatever. Like, I'm going to just be sucking on my inhaler the whole time. I'm going to ramp up on prednisone beforehand. Like, I know how this is going to go. And I was running a lot. I was really proud of myself. I was fueling my body with as many good foods as I could. Although my diet was really limited. I couldn't eat anything with skin, like cucumbers or anything like you have to peel. I couldn't eat apples. Carrots would kill me. No soy, no dairy. And I was starting to develop a sensitivity to gluten as well. And so I'm noticing these things about my body, and I'm like, I'm not going to be eating very much at this point. And with my background in exercise science, I'm like, I am not getting the nutrients that I need, but I'm also not changing shape. I'm running more than I ever have in my entire life, and my body composition is not changing. What? And so I pieced all these things together. I did some researching on gut health and discovered that all of these things that I've got going on in my life are tied to gut health. And so the end of June in 2017, I finally sent Abby a message, and it straight was, how do I get started? That was my first message. I had never talked to her on Facebook ever before. Like real life, yes, but not on Facebook. And she shared with me how to get started, what products she thought would be a really good fit for me. And so now, to fast forward through a little bit, I ended up also getting convinced by my students to run a full marathon. And that was in October. So I was training even more. And my husband, one day, this is going to sound really crazy, but I went for an 18-mile training run. And I came home and he said, Sarah, did you get a new inhaler? And I was like, that may be the weirdest question you've asked me in our marriage. Like, what? And he said, yours has been sitting on the counter in the exact same spot for the last 2 weeks. It hasn't moved. And I hadn't even realized that I didn't need an inhaler, which my life had legitimately depended on for the first 35, 6 years of my life. And I was like, oh, that's weird. Hey, Abby, is gut health related to asthma? And she's like, well, actually it is. And so ran my marathon, medication free, no NSAIDs, no like painkillers after ibuprofen, Tylenol, none of that. Went to my pulmonologist. He ran tests. My lung function had improved in my first 4 months of being consistent on the products by over 12%, which in the world of being asthmatic is huge. Fast forward again, the next summer, I inadvertently ate carrots. They didn't kill me. And so that's like, I would definitely like get an allergy test done. Don't go the route that I did and like just eat a carrot. But my world, I know it sounds super cliche to say, but my world has changed because of these products. I am no longer worried about every ingredient that I'm eating. My seasonal allergies don't exist. Like there was one day this fall that I was like, or late summer, that I was like, oh yeah, that's what allergies feel like. But it wasn't like I need Benadryl, all these things that I've been on my entire life. And so those were all changes that I hadn't expected. I started because I was puffy, I was tired, and I was really short fused with my family. And things that have been just like the way life was for me really has made a huge difference for me. So my advice when you get started on these products is trust the system and trust your support. Your friend who is getting you started with these products is going to steer you in the right direction, but you have to also be really open and honest with them. If something doesn't seem right, don't just tell them it's fine. Make sure to tell them like, hey, this is happening, is what's up? And they'll help troubleshoot for you, because the odds are is you're starting to go through some detox, some things are starting to move and change, and you're headed on the right path. But make sure to check in with them regularly. And that's my story. That's pretty much it in a nutshell.
That's awesome, Sarah. I remember when I first started to hear your story, and when I can't remember who it was, we were at a get together and somebody said, yeah, she ate a carrot and she was okay. And I was like, that's when it started to dawn on me, oh my gosh, this girl, she had like obviously really, really bad allergies. And because this person, I can't remember who it was, but you were like so nervous that you actually had eaten.
Oh yeah, it was like anaphylactic shock. It happened at my freshman year in high school, like EpiPen in the middle of the cafeteria. Like it was a big traumatizing event. So the fact that it's not a thing anymore is I'm speechless about it. So thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. I'm so glad that you have overcome all those, and it's amazing how, you know, you, like what Sarah said, you start with something, you know, you start the product to help something, you don't realize that other things are going to start evolving and getting better. It's really nice surprises there along the way. So thank you so much, Sarah, for sharing. And Sarah is right. You know, when we are on these products, we have to always make sure that we're open and honest, because that's the only way we can be able to, you know, get better. Because this is not like a one fit all. It's definitely something that, you know, is suited to each individual person, which is just, I think it makes it better. I really, truly do. So does anybody have any questions for our sharers, or any questions in general? Definitely feel free to unmute yourself or ask it in the chat. No? No.
I will throw in a question I do get asked quite frequently is what product helps me with my lungs. And so for me, it was the Triplex and Ease that are like my go-to pretty much for everybody as they get started, as long as they're not allergic to shellfish. So because it's such an anti-inflammatory, and like that's the world of asthmatics, right? Is your bronchial tubes are super dilated with all the inflammation. And so that's just something else to throw in.
I think that's perfect. Thank you so much, Sarah, for sharing that. I appreciate it. I will ask Jessica Gurney, what would you say out of the products that you've taken, like what is like your favorite one? Do you have a favorite?
Sure. So I forgot to say this when I was talking, but I had seen many functional medicine doctors, and nobody could tell me that I had an overgrowth of Candida yeast in my body. And so that's what a lot of the symptoms that I were experiencing was from. And I was taking what I thought was really good probiotics, and I was spending like $100 on a bottle of refrigerated probiotics, and nothing was impacting it. And when I went on ProBio 5, it was a total game changer. And I remember when I started on Triplex, and I remember when the schedule changes and I went to 3 ProBio 5s. It was like that week my sugar cravings disappeared completely. And so it was just a complete game changer. And I went back to the dentist, and it was like every 6 months I had to go to the gum specialist. And I went in, and he said to me, "What are you doing? Your gums have totally stopped bleeding." And they do like a bleeding test. They had some of the other assistants come in to see my gums, and he said, "You know, what have you changed?" And I told him I had started Plexus, and I brought the printout about ProBio 5. And I haven't been back to the gum specialist in 2 years.
That's awesome. So definitely ProBio 5 for the win.
Absolutely, yeah. But I took Triplex in the beginning, but yes.
Yeah, that's definitely a huge one that helps you. That's awesome. Oh, so perfect. Oh, I want to thank all of the sharers for sharing tonight. It was wonderful. I'm so thankful that the audience was able to pop in and to listen to these live. And for everybody watching this recording, thank you so much for listening. And please reach out to the person that invited you here. They love you, they care about you, they want the best for you. Okay, that is why we're here. We're here to share. And without further ado, I bid you all a good night, and thank you so much for listening.